I always thought taking a cruise with my wife, Anna, would be a dream vacation. 7 nights of luxury. No work calls. No stress. Just ocean views, cocktails, and time together. At least, that's what I thought, but looking back. The signs were there before we even boarded. Anna was acting different. She wasn't excited about the trip like she used to be. She spent more time on her phone than talking to me, and whenever I tried to get affectionate, she'd pull away. At first, I thought she was just stressed. Maybe work was getting to her, but as we stepped onto that ship, I had a feeling something was off, and I had no idea how bad it was going to get. From the moment we boarded the Sapphire Queen, something felt off. I tried to brush it off as just pre-trip nerves. Maybe Anna was just overwhelmed with everything: the crowds, the check-in process, the excitement. But deep down, something wasn't right. She wasn't holding my hand like she used to. She kept checking her phone, smiling at the screen, then quickly locking it, and when we got to our cabin, she tossed her suitcase on the bed and said, "I'm going to explore the ship. You coming?" I nodded, but before I could grab my shoes, she added, "Actually, you should unpack. I'll be quick." I froze. Anna and I had been together for 8 years. She had never once turned down an opportunity to explore together. I forced a smile. "All right. Just don't get lost." She laughed, kissed my cheek a quick kiss, barely touching my skin, then hurried out the door. That was the first red flag. That night, we had dinner on the deck, watching the sun dip into the ocean. I tried to shake the unease. We were on vacation. I wasn't going to let my imagination ruin it, so, I said, cutting into my steak. "What did you do while you were out exploring?" Anna barely looked up from her wine glass. "Oh, you know. Just checked out the pool, the spa, the casino." I raised an eyebrow. "The casino? You hate gambling." She paused. Just for a second. Then she shrugged. "I wasn't gambling. I was just watching." That didn't sound like her at all. "Did you meet anyone?" I asked casually, watching her reaction. She sipped her wine. "Just some people at the bar. It was nothing." It was nothing. That phrase stuck with me. It was a throwaway response. The kind of thing you say when you don't want to give details. Still, I forced myself to let it go. I wasn't going to be the jealous, paranoid husband. Not yet. After dinner, Anna and I walked the deck, the salty sea air whipping through our hair. She seemed normal again, laughing, leaning into me, pointing out how beautiful the stars looked. For a moment, I felt stupid for doubting her, but then, around midnight, she got out of bed. I was half asleep when I heard her moving around. I blinked, my eyes adjusting to the dim light. She was standing by her suitcase, pulling on a short dress. I frowned. "Where are you going?" She froze, then, too quickly, she said, "Couldn't sleep. I'm just going to the bar for a drink." "At midnight? Alone?" Something in my gut tightened. I sat up. "I'll come with you." She hesitated. Just for a second. Then, she laughed, brushing it off. "You're exhausted. Stay in bed, babe. I'll be back soon." Before I could say another word, she slipped out the door, leaving me alone in the cabin. I stared at the ceiling, my mind racing. Something was definitely wrong. I tried to sleep, but my brain wouldn't shut off. The way she had rushed out. The way she didn't want me to come. After about 20 minutes, I got up, pulled on a t-shirt, and decided to go find her. The ship was quiet at that hour, except for a few drunken couples stumbling back to their rooms. I walked toward the bar area, expecting to see Anna sitting alone with a drink, but she wasn't there. I checked the casino. The pool deck. Even the small nightclub on the upper level. No sign of her. Then, as I turned a corner near the private lounges, I saw something that made my stomach drop. A man walked past me, tall, well-built, wearing a crisp button-down. He was fixing his collar, running a hand through his messy hair, and on his wrist, a gold bracelet, the same exact bracelet I had seen in our cabin earlier that day, the one Anna had taken off at dinner, the one I had bought for her anniversary. My pulse pounded. I turned, watching as he disappeared down the hallway. I had no proof. No real reason to jump to conclusions, but in that moment, I knew. Anna wasn't alone, and my dream vacation, it was about to become a nightmare. That I stood there, frozen, watching. The man with the gold bracelet disappeared down the hall. My mind raced. That it didn't prove anything. But something in my gut told me it wasn't a coincidence. Anna was nowhere to be found. And this guy? He looked like he had just come from somewhere he wasn't supposed to be. I had two choices: go back to our cabin, pretend I didn't see anything, and wait for Anna to return, follow my gut and start looking for answers. I didn't hesitate. I chose the second option. I walked down the hallway, my footsteps silent on the plush carpet. This area of the ship was exclusive. The kind of place where people booked private lounges for drinks or something else. I passed a row of doors, some slightly open, others closed. Music, laughter, and hushed conversations drifted from inside. Then, I saw it. One door barely ajar. The lights inside were dim, but I could see a shadow moving, and on the small table near the entrance, a familiar purse. Anna's. My heart slammed against my ribs. I took a slow breath, steeling myself, then pushed the door open. The room was small and private, designed for people who wanted to drink and talk in peace, but talking wasn't what was happening inside. On the couch, tangled up with someone who wasn't me, was Anna. Her dress was hiked up. Her legs were draped over his lap. Their faces were too close. His hand was on her thigh, and the worst part, they didn't even see me at first. I stood there, gripping the doorframe so hard my knuckles turned white. A million emotions hit me at once: rage, disbelief, heartbreak. Then, I spoke. Having a good time? Anna's head snapped up. Her eyes went wide. I'll never forget her face in that moment: pure shock, like she had been caught in a lie she thought she'd never have to explain. The guy? He had no idea who I was. He just stared, confused, like he wasn't sure if he should stay or run. Anna scrambled off his lap, fixing her dress. Mike. This isn't what it looks like. I actually laughed. Really? Because it looks like my wife is about to have sex with a stranger on a cruise that I paid for. She flinched, then, like clockwork, she started lying. It's not what you think, she said quickly. We were just talking. I stepped forward, staring her down. Talking? I glanced at the guy. What's your name, man? He hesitated. Eric. I turned back to Anna. You and Eric here look pretty comfortable for just talking. She crossed her arms. I had a few drinks, Mike. You're overreacting. Overreacting. That I clenched my jaw. I knew exactly what she was doing, trying to turn it around on me. Trying to make it seem like I was the crazy one. But I wasn't falling for it. I looked at Eric. He looked guilty, like he suddenly realized he was sitting in the middle of something he shouldn't be involved in. Did you know she was married? I asked. That he swallowed hard. She said she was here alone. I let out a short, bitter laugh. Of course, she did. Anna's face turned red. Mike, I was just having fun. Why are you making such a big deal out of this? I stared at her, feeling something inside me snap. The big deal? I repeated, my voice dangerously calm. You convinced me to come on this trip, acted distant the whole time, snuck out in the middle of the night, and now I find you grinding on some guy. She rolled her eyes. Rolled her eyes, like I was being dramatic. You're being paranoid, she muttered. Nothing even happened. I laughed again, shaking my head. You know what? I don't even care anymore. I turned on my heel, heading for the door. Anna panicked. Wait, where are you going? I didn't answer because at that moment, I had made my decision that I wasn't just leaving that room, that I was leaving her, for good. That I walked out of that private lounge without looking back. That I didn't care that Anna was calling after me. I didn't care that Eric looked like he wanted to disappear. At that moment, I knew one thing for sure: this marriage was over, but I wasn't going to let her pretend like she hadn't just been caught, and I wasn't about to let her control the narrative, because I had one last move to make. That I stormed down the hallway, heading back toward our cabin. The anger in my chest felt like fire. That I wanted to punch something. Break something. But I wasn't going to lose control, not yet. A few passengers glanced at me as I passed, probably wondering why I looked ready to throw someone overboard. Then, behind me, I heard hurried footsteps. Mike, wait. I clenched my jaw. Here we go. Anna finally caught up to me, grabbing my arm. Can we just talk about this? She pleaded. That I pulled my arm free, staring at her. Oh, now you want to talk. She sighed dramatically. It wasn't what it looked like. I laughed, shaking my head. That's funny because it looked like you were about to have sex with a guy you just met. She flinched. I wasn't. We were just flirting, that's all. Flirting. That's what she was calling it. I crossed my arms. Tell me, Anna, when were you planning to stop flirting? Before or after you ended up in his bed? She groaned, rubbing her forehead like I was the one giving her a headache. Mike, I was drunk. I wasn't thinking straight. I narrowed my eyes. So let me get this straight. You got drunk, accidentally found a private lounge, and accidentally ended up grinding on another man? She looked away. Admit it, I said, stepping closer. Just say the words. You cheated. She hesitated, then, her expression shifted. Her shoulders squared, her face hardened, and suddenly, she wasn't apologetic anymore. Instead, she snapped, fine. I messed up. But maybe if you weren't so boring, I wouldn't have to find fun elsewhere. There it was, the real Anna, not the apologetic wife. Not the innocent victim, the manipulator. I stared at her for a long moment. Then, I did something she wasn't expecting. I smiled. Thanks for finally telling the truth, I said. Now get out of my way. She blinked. What? I stepped around her. I'm done talking. And I'm done with you. I got to our cabin, grabbed my suitcase, and started packing. I wasn't going to stay in the same room as her. Not after this. But just as I zipped my bag, the door slammed open. Anna stood there, furious. What do you think you're doing? She demanded. I didn't even look up. Moving to another cabin. Her jaw clenched. You can't just leave me here. I zipped the last part of my suitcase. Watch me. She folded her arms. So that's it? You're going to act like one mistake means nothing we had was real? I stopped. Slowly, I turned to face her. One mistake? I repeated. Her eyes flickered. She knew she said the wrong thing. How many times, Anna? I asked, my voice calm. She hesitated. How many times? She exhaled, shaking her head. Mike, don't do this. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. Was it just tonight? Or have you been doing this for months? She bit her lip. Does it matter? That was all the answer I needed. I grabbed my bag and walked toward the door. But before I left, I looked her in the eye and said, I hope it was worth it. Then, I walked out, and for the first time in years, I felt free. Anna thought she could cheat and get away with it. She thought I'd forgive her, but she had no idea what was coming next, because I wasn't just walking away. I was about to make sure she regretted this for the rest of her life. Walking out of that cabin felt like stepping into a new life. I had spent years being the devoted husband, the guy who always put his marriage first. I trusted Anna completely. And this was how she repaid me. She didn't deserve a clean break, she deserved to feel the humiliation she tried to hide. And on this floating city in the middle of the ocean, there was nowhere for her to run. So I made a decision that I wasn't just going to move on. I was going to make sure everyone on this ship knew exactly what she did. After securing a new cabin, I took a deep breath and did something I never thought I'd do. I went through Anna's phone. I knew her passcode. She never changed it. I didn't even feel guilty. She lost her right to privacy the second she cheated, and what I found, it made my blood boil. Flirty messages to multiple guys, not just Eric, photos she had sent, not just innocent selfies. A message from one guy saying, I miss last time. Hope your husband doesn't find out. Last time. That confirmed it. This wasn't just one mistake, she had been cheating for months. Maybe longer. I took screenshots of everything and sent them to myself. Proof, she wasn't going to lie her way out of this, not this time. The next morning, I woke up with a plan. On a cruise ship, news travels fast, especially when a cheating scandal is involved. So I did what any rational, heartbroken husband would do. I went to the guest services desk and asked to leave a special note on our reserved table at dinner. The staff didn't ask questions. They just smiled and agreed. Then, I went to the pool deck, where I knew Anna would be lounging like nothing happened, and in front of at least a dozen other guests, I walked right up to her, held out her phone, and said loudly, "You might want this back, Anna. I found some interesting messages." Her face went ghost white. People turned to look. Conversation stopped. She opened her mouth, but I didn't give her a chance to lie. I dropped her phone onto her sun chair and walked away. She scrambled to grab it, knowing exactly what I had found, and now, she had no idea what I was going to do next. That night, at our formal dinner reservation, I arrived alone. Anna was already at the table, looking nervous, her eyes darting around like she was waiting for something bad to happen. She was right to be afraid, because when the waiter handed her a small envelope, she hesitated. Then, she opened it. Inside was a printed copy of her messages with Eric and the other guys. At the bottom, I had written, "I thought you deserved a special keepsake from this trip. Enjoy the rest of your cruise alone." Her hands shook. She looked up at me, completely panicked, and I just smiled. Then, I stood up, straightened my jacket, and said, loud enough for the surrounding tables to hear, "Enjoy your night, Anna. I know you're good at entertaining strangers." Gasps. Whispers. People stared. Anna turned beet red and I walked away because I had won. Anna thought she could cheat and walk away untouched. She thought I'd forgive her. Instead, she was publicly humiliated, left alone on a luxury cruise, while I spent the rest of the trip living my best life. But this wasn't over yet, because the moment we got back home, I was making sure she lost everything. I spent the rest of the cruise relaxing, something I never thought I'd be able to do after catching my wife cheating. But knowing Anna was completely humiliated, left scrambling to do damage control while I enjoyed myself. That made it easier. I saw her a few times, walking through the ship, and every time, she looked miserable. People whispered when she passed, other women gave her looks of disgust. Even some of the men seemed to avoid her, realizing she wasn't just some single woman looking for a vacation fling. She was a cheating wife who got caught. She tried once to talk to me, cornering me by the bar. "Mike, please, can we just talk?" she begged. I sipped my drink and smirked. "We already did. You were just flirting, remember?" Her face twisted with frustration. "I get that you're mad, but this is childish. We still have to go home together." I shrugged. "Yeah, about that. I changed my flight." Her eyes widened. "What?" I leaned in just slightly and whispered, "When we get off this ship, we're done. For good." Then I walked away. For the first time in years, I felt like I had control again, but I wasn't just walking away from Anna. I was about to make sure she lost everything. By the time the ship docked, I had already put my next move into motion. While she was trying to avoid judgmental stares, I was on my phone, making sure she had nothing waiting for her when we got home. Bank accounts. I transferred my money into a separate account. Credit cards cancelled. House locks changed. By the time Anna stepped off the ship, she had no idea that her life had already fallen apart. I didn't go home. I went straight to a lawyer. John, my attorney, looked over the details of what happened and gave a small chuckle. "She really cheated on you while on vacation with you? That's bold." I nodded. "And dumb." He leaned back, thinking. "You want to go after everything?" I smirked. "Every last thing." "And so, that's exactly what we did. Filed for divorce immediately, petitioned for full ownership of the house, blocked her from any financial claim to my assets. I was playing to win." Anna had no idea what was coming. When Anna finally got back to our house, I wasn't there. But what she found instead: her key didn't work, her bank cards were declined. A folder with divorce papers was waiting on the doorstep. She called me immediately. "Anna, Mike, what the hell is going on?" Me, "Oh, did you think we were going back to normal?" "Anna, you locked me out of the house?" Me, "No. I locked a cheater out of the house." She screamed into the phone. Called me every name in the book, but I didn't care because now, I was free. Anna thought she could get away with it, she thought I'd be too weak to walk away, but now, she was the one left with nothing, and I was about to start a brand new life without her. Anna wasn't the type to accept defeat. She lost the cruise. She lost the house. She lost me, but she wasn't going to let go without one last fight, and sure enough, the text started flooding in.at first. She played the victim. Anna, Mike, I made a mistake. But did you really have to humiliate me like that? We can fix this. I didn't respond. Then, she switched to anger. Anna, you are such a petty, miserable person. You think you won? You'll regret this. Still, I didn't respond, and finally, when silence was all she got, she went for the nuclear option. Anna, I'm taking half of everything. Get ready. There it was. She couldn't win me back. So now, she was going to try to take me down. I met with John, my lawyer, the next day. She wants half, I told him. John smirked. She can want whatever she likes. Doesn't mean she'll get it. See, here's what Anna didn't realize: I had the upper hand. She cheated. That gave me leverage. I filed first. That put me in control. She had no job. She had been living off me for years. The more John looked at the case, the more confident he became. We're pushing for a clean break. She gets nothing, he said. And with the evidence we have, the judge will see her for what she is. I smiled. Anna thought she was about to take me for everything, but she had no idea that she was about to walk away with nothing. When Anna realized her plan wasn't working, she tried another angle. One night, around midnight, I heard a knock at my door. I checked the peephole. Anna. I sighed, but curiosity got the better of me. I opened the door just enough to see her standing there, looking desperate. Can we talk? She asked softly. I leaned against the doorframe. Talk about what? How you cheated on me. Or how you're trying to take my money. She flinched. Then, the waterworks started. Mike, please. I miss you. I don't know what I was thinking. I love you. I stared at her, waiting for the punchline, and then she tried to reach for me. I stepped back. You don't love me, Anna. You love what I gave you. Her face twisted in frustration. So you're just throwing everything away? I laughed. You threw it away the second you took off your dress for another man. She went silent, then, her eyes narrowed. You'll be alone forever, Mike. I smiled. Good. That means I'll never have to deal with another woman like you again. And with that, I shut the door in her face for good. 1 month later, the divorce was finalized. Anna got nothing. The house was mine. She left with just her suitcase. She called one last time. I didn't answer because I didn't need to. Anna was my past and my future. It was looking better than ever. Anna thought she could break me. Instead, she ended up destroying herself and me. I was finally free. The first few days after the divorce were surreal. For the first time in years, I wasn't waking up to lies. Manipulation, or stress. Fake apologies. Passive-aggressive comments. Checking over my shoulder, wondering what she was really up to. Just peace, and I planned to keep it that way. But of course, Anna wasn't done. A few days after the papers were signed, I got a text. Anna, I don't know if you'll even read this, but I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I rolled my eyes. Sorry? For what, exactly? Cheating, lying about it, trying to take half of everything I worked for. Too late for sorry. I ignored the text. Then another came through. Anna, I don't want things to end like this. Can we just talk? I put my phone down and went back to my day. Ignored again. And then her final desperate move. The next morning, I was at the gym when I saw a notification, friend request, Anna Dawson. I almost laughed. She actually tried to re-add me on social media. This woman had no shame. She wanted to keep tabs on me. She couldn't stand that I was moving on without her. So I did the only thing left to do. I blocked her. On everything, phone, social media, email. Now, she was gone. Completely erased from my life. For the first time in years, I felt free. But I knew Anna, and something told me, she wasn't done causing problems, not yet. Blocking Anna should have been the end, but if there was one thing I should have learned by now, it was this: Anna didn't know how to quit. She had lost our marriage, the house, and any claim to my money. She had nothing left, but instead of moving on, she decided to burn every bridge on her way down, and this time, she went too far. It started with a phone call from my boss that I was at work, finally settling into life without drama, when I saw his name pop up on my screen. I answered. "Hey, what's up?" His voice was serious. "Mike, we need to talk. I got a call about you today." I frowned. "A call? From who?" There was a pause. Then, he said the last name I wanted to hear: "Your ex-wife." My grip on the phone tightened. "What did she say?" I asked, already knowing it wouldn't be good. My boss sighed. "She accused you of being emotionally unstable after the divorce. Said she was concerned about your behavior at work." I closed my eyes and took a slow breath. Of course, Anna couldn't hurt me financially. She couldn't guilt me into coming back. So now, she was trying to mess with my career. My boss continued. "She told HR she thought you might be dangerous. That she was worried about your state of mind." I almost laughed. Anna, the woman who cheated, lied, and tried to take everything from me, was now playing the victim, but here's where she messed up. I had been with my company for years. I was well respected, professional, and had zero issues in my personal file. So when my boss told me HR had already dismissed her complaint, I wasn't even surprised. She sounded unstable, he admitted. Like she was just trying to stir up trouble. I exhaled, shaking my head. "That's exactly what she's doing." He chuckled. "Well, you're good here. Just figured you should know what she's up to." I thanked him and hung up. Then, I sat back in my chair and thought, Anna had officially hit rock bottom, but she still had one last move to play, and this one, it was personal. That night, my phone buzzed again. A new text from an unknown number. I opened it. "Anna, if you don't want to talk to me, that's fine. But I think Mia deserves to hear the truth about her father." My blood ran cold. Mia was my younger sister. She was only 17, still in high school. She had nothing to do with this. Anna was now dragging my family into this, and that was the last straw. I wasn't just going to ignore her anymore. This time, I was going to end it for good. Anna had finally crossed the line. Dragging my name through the mud at work was one thing, but threatening to drag my family into her mess, that was unforgivable. I wasn't going to let her pull Mia into this. So instead of ignoring her text, I called her. She answered on the first ring. "Mike," she said, her voice suddenly soft. Fake that I didn't let her get another word in. "Listen to me, Anna," I said, my voice ice cold. "You can mess with me all you want. But if you go anywhere near my family, I promise you'll regret it." She gasped, acting like the victim. "I wasn't going to do anything. I just thought Mia should know what kind of brother she has." I clenched my jaw. "You don't get to talk about my family. Ever." She scoffed. "So, what? You get to ruin my life, but I can't say anything?" I laughed, shaking my head. "Ruin your life? You did that all on your own." Silence. Then, her voice changed. "You still care, don't you?" she whispered. I blinked. "What?" "If you didn't care," she continued, "you wouldn't have called me. You wouldn't be this mad. You still have feelings for me, Mike." I almost felt bad for her, almost. Then, I shook my head and said the one thing she wasn't expecting. "I feel nothing for you, Anna. And I never will again." Her breath hitched. "You're lying," she whispered. I smiled. "You should know, Anna. You were always the liar." Then, I hung up, blocked her number, and this time, I knew she was gone for good. I checked in with Mia, just to make sure Anna hadn't actually reached out to her. She hadn't, probably because she realized she had no power over me anymore, and without power, she had nothing left. For the first time since this nightmare started, I felt peace that I had won. But the best part, I hadn't just won, that I had moved on, and that That was the real victory. Anna was finally gone. And no more toxic texts. No more games. No more drama. For the first time in years, my life was mine again, but even after she was out of the picture, something felt off, because when you spend years in a relationship that's built on lies, you start to forget what it's like to actually be happy. And now, I had to relearn who I was without her. The first thing I did? Cleared out everything that reminded me of her, deleted every old picture. I wasn't keeping memories of someone who betrayed me, threw out every gift she ever gave me. Fake love didn't deserve to take up space. Changed the layout of my house. I didn't want a single reminder of our old life together. When I was done, my place felt different, lighter, like the weight of her lies and manipulation was finally gone. Anna had spent years isolating me. She made me feel like she was the only person I needed. That was her way of controlling me. So I started reaching out to the people I had drifted away from, old friends I hadn't seen in a while, coworkers I used to grab drinks with, even my family, who I realized I hadn't spent nearly enough time with, and the best part, they were still there. I expected people to say, "Why did it take you so long?" But instead, all I got was, "Glad to have you back, man." That's when it hit me that I wasn't the one who lost everything. Anna was. When you're in a toxic relationship, you stop doing things for yourself, you compromise. You sacrifice. You put their needs above yours. Anna never supported my hobbies, my goals, or the things that made me happy. So now, I started doing all of them again, got back into the gym because I wasn't going to be the guy who lets heartbreak win, booked another vacation, this time, for myself, with no one to ruin it, started focusing on my career because I wasn't just moving on, I was leveling up. And for the first time in a long time, I was excited about life again. One night, I was sitting on my balcony, staring at the stars, and I realized something. I wasn't thinking about her. For the first time since this whole mess started, Anna wasn't on my mind. That I wasn't angry. I wasn't sad. That I just didn't care anymore. And that's when I knew that I had won. But my biggest victory, I had myself back. Life without Anna was finally normal. Peaceful. Mine. That I woke up every morning without stress. No lies, no manipulation, just a clear head and the freedom to live life on my own terms. But what I didn't expect was how quickly something, or rather, someone, would come into my life when I least expected it. It happened at the coffee shop near my office. That I was standing in line, scrolling through my phone, when someone bumped into me. "Sorry," a voice said. That I looked up. She was beautiful, long dark hair, a warm smile, eyes that actually looked sincere. The kind of woman who didn't need to fake anything. That I shook my head, smiling slightly. "No worries." She laughed, glancing at my coffee order. "Black, no sugar." "Wow. Hardcore." I smirked. What can I say? Some things are better without extra sweetness. She raised an eyebrow. "That sounds like something someone says after a bad breakup." I let out a small chuckle. Something like that. For the first time in months, talking to a woman didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like a reminder of Anna. It felt new. Her name was Emily, and unlike Anna, she wasn't playing games. We talked for a bit, exchanged numbers, and actually connected without me overanalyzing every word, waiting for a lie. That's when I realized something. That I wasn't broken. Anna had tried to destroy my trust in people, make me feel like every woman was like her. But she failed, because here I was, standing across from someone new, feeling something I thought was dead inside me, hope. Later that night, I sat on my couch, scrolling through my phone. For a split second, I considered looking up Anna, not because I missed her but because I was curious. Was she still miserable? Did she regret what she did? Was she trying to crawl back into someone else's life? But then, I stopped myself, because it didn't matter. Anna was my past, and I had just gotten a glimpse of my future. A future where I wasn't defined by her betrayal, where I could actually trust again, where I could be happy. And that was worth more than any revenge I could have ever planned. Meeting Emily was a wake-up call. For months, I had been so focused on revenge, proving Anna wrong, and rebuilding myself that I didn't realize the most important part of moving on, letting go. And that wasn't about blocking her number or winning the divorce. It was about not caring anymore, and I was finally getting there. A few days after meeting Emily, I got a call from a mutual friend. "Hey, man," he said. I ran into Anna last night. She asked about you. I almost laughed. What did she want to know? I asked that he hesitated. She wanted to know if you were seeing someone. Of course, she did. Anna didn't want me back, she just couldn't handle the thought of me moving on, but here's the thing, her opinion didn't matter anymore. Next time she asks, I said, smirking, tell her I'm happier than ever. And that was the truth, that I started spending more time with Emily, not because I needed someone to fill the void, but because for the first time in a long time, I actually wanted to be around someone. She was different from Anna in every way. No games. No lies. Just honest, effortless connection, and the more I got to know her, the more I realized something huge. Anna wasn't just a mistake, she was a lesson in what I would never tolerate again, a lesson in how much I deserved better, and now, I was finally ready to live that truth. One night, Emily and I were having dinner when she asked, "Do you ever think about her?" I thought about it for a second, then, I smiled. Not anymore. And just like that, Anna was gone, for good. For so long, I had let Anna's betrayal define me, the anger, the resentment, the need for revenge, but now, she wasn't even a thought in my head. That I had something better, a life that had nothing to do with her, and for the first time, I wasn't just moving on, I was becoming someone new. One morning, I woke up, stared at my phone, and realized something. I wasn't waiting for a text from her anymore. For months, even after the divorce, even after blocking her, some part of me still expected her to reach out, because that's what toxic people do. But now, I didn't care if she texted. I didn't care if she regretted it. I didn't care at all, and that's when I knew I had finally won. I started doing things that Anna never supported me in, got serious about fitness. No more stress weight, no more emotional eating, just me, pushing myself to be better. Started planning a solo trip. Not because I needed an escape, but because I actually wanted to travel without someone holding me back. Rebuilt old friendships. The ones Anna made me distance myself from. The ones who actually cared. Every part of my life that she had tried to control, I took it back, and the more I did, the more I realized, I was never the problem. She was. One night, as I sat on my balcony, sipping a drink, I looked at the stars and thought, what now? For the first time in years, the answer was whatever I want. No more drama. No more fights. No more Anna. Just me, my future, and a life on my own terms. They say the best revenge is living well, and now, I finally understood what that meant. It wasn't about making Anna regret what she did. It wasn't about proving her wrong. It was about waking up every day without her in my head, and I had finally made it there. One afternoon, I was grabbing coffee when I heard someone say my name. I turned around and there she was, Anna. She looked different, not in a good way. Her smile wasn't real, it was forced. Her eyes weren't confident, they were searching. And when she looked at me, I saw something I never expected: regret. "Mike," she said, hesitating. "Wow, you look good." I just nodded. "I know." She laughed nervously. "It's been a while. How have you been?" I smiled. "Better than ever." And for the first time, I didn't say it to hurt her. I said it because it was true. She shifted awkwardly. "I've been meaning to reach out." I raised an eyebrow. "Why?" Her face faltered. "I guess I just wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything." I studied her for a second. Maybe she really was sorry, maybe she finally realized what she lost, but it didn't matter, because I didn't need an apology. I didn't need closure. I had already closed the door myself. So I just smiled and said, "Take care, Anna." Then, I walked away, without looking back. That moment proved something. Anna thought she was the best I'd ever have, she thought I'd never move on, but now, she was just a chapter one had already finished reading. The real revenge. I was happy that I was free, and I never needed her to begin with.